You don't cross borders, you survive them. Every stamp in your passport is a lie. Every name in it is fake. Every visa interview is a performance. Every phone in your pocket will be dead by tomorrow. People think smuggling is fast money. Private flights, luxury hotels, suitcases full of cash. They imagine confidence, control, like it's all smooth highways and clean hands, like nothing ever sticks to you. They never talk about the waiting. They never talk about sitting alone in airport terminals at 2 in the morning, staring at a wall, wondering if tonight is the night everything ends. They never talk about the fear, the kind that lives in your chest, quiet, loaded, ready to explode. You've been running since you were 22, from debt, from bad choices, from yourself. Every state line felt like escape. Every border felt like forgiveness. You told yourself this run would be the last. It never was. It started in Los Angeles with a failed business, maxed out credit cards, and overdue rent. One bad decision followed another. Wrong loans, wrong people, men who never had to threaten you because they didn't need to. They reminded you instead, through broken doors and silent warnings. That was when Marcus offered you transport work. No details, no paperwork, just deliveries. He said it casually, like he was talking about picking up groceries, not changing the course of your life. Your first job was simple: LAX to Miami, a tourist passport, a borrowed suitcase, a one-way ticket you pretended was temporary. Inside the suitcase were 4 small stones, not diamonds, not anything that looked valuable. Hope. You just didn't know it yet. In America, smuggling isn't about hiding, it's about beating systems. You don't run from authorities, you study them. You learn the habits of CBP, TSA, ICE, and DEA. You memorize their rhythms, their routines, their blind spots. You learn which airports scan harder, which officers profile more aggressively, which terminals rotate their staff and when. You notice who asks questions and who just wants to finish their shift and go home. You study routes like maps of survival: Florida to the Caribbean to New York, Texas to Mexico to California, Canada to Chicago to Atlanta, Africa to JFK, then Antwerp and back again. Every path has a history, every stop has a risk. You learn the methods too: false electronics, modified laptops, shoe inserts, reinforced belt frames, body concealment, tricks built by desperate people and perfected by professionals. Sometimes it goes further. Sometimes you swallow the cargo. Those are the runs you hate the most, the ones where fear sits in your stomach, literally, and every breath feels borrowed. But money doesn't care if you deliver. Money only cares if you deliver. Your life becomes airports: JFK, LAX, Miami, Dallas, Atlanta. Cities blur into terminals and security lines. Departure boards replace calendars. Time is measured in boarding calls and gate changes, not in birthdays or weekends. Hotel rooms become your only home. Identical beds, identical curtains, identical silence. You never decorate, you never unpack fully, you never settle. You sleep with your documents hidden in your socks, close enough to feel their weight even in dreams. You carry 3 passports, 4 IDs, and 5 different backstories. On paper, you are a consultant, a trader, an importer, a man who moves money and goods across borders for legitimate reasons. None of it is real. Every phone call could be surveillance. Every Uber could be logged. Every hotel camera could be watching you. Every stranger might be listening longer than they should. So you live quiet. You stay invisible. You survive. By 27, you're promoted. Not officially. There are no contracts, no titles, no ceremonies. You simply become trusted. You're no longer moving test packages or low-risk cargo. Now you handle real stones. African conflict diamonds, Venezuelan shipments, Russian syndicate cuts, raw, untraceable wealth. Millions of dollars stitched into a jacket lining, hidden in seams and false pockets. After a while, you stop touching them. You don't admire them. You don't weigh them in your hand. You just move them from point A to point B, from one shadow to another. The money explodes. A condo in Miami, an apartment in Brooklyn, cash hidden in 3 different states, accounts under names you barely remember. To outsiders, you look successful, self-made, untouchable. Inside, you feel hunted. You had a friend, Same neighborhood, same debts, same late nights worrying about bills and mistakes. You grew up believing you would escape together, that whatever came next would be something better than what you were running from. But he chose a different route. Not stones, not quiet packages and careful planning. He moved powder, pills, and liquid vials. Drugs moved faster than diamonds. They paid quicker. They burned hotter. He liked the speed, the flash, the feeling of being untouchable. You tried to warn him. You told him to slow down, to be careful, to think long term. He just laughed. Relax, he said. I know what I'm doing. He didn't study systems. He didn't learn patterns. He didn't memorize schedules or watch behavior. He trusted luck. And for a while, luck held. He bought a new car, wore gold chains, walked into VIP sections like he owned the place. His social media filled with smiles and parties. But his eyes grew emptier every month. Then it ended in Newark. One wrong courier, one missed call, one bad signal. A DEA raid. No warnings, no second chances. 20 years. No passport, no exits, no next flight. You visited him once. A glass wall between you, an orange uniform on his body, a face that looked older than it should. He didn't say much. He didn't need to. You understood. His story was what happened when you lost. Yours was just what happened when you didn't. Yet. Federal databases know your patterns. Watch lists whisper your name in quiet rooms. Algorithms circle you like predators, waiting for a mistake. And you know the truth. One wrong flight, one wrong answer, one moment of hesitation. Game over. It happens at JFK. You're coming in from Istanbul on a red-eye flight. Your body's exhausted, your mind fogged from recycled air and sleepless hours. You just want to pass through, disappear into the crowd, and be another face in the terminal. But you don't. Customs pulls you aside. Secondary inspection. Those two words kill dreams. They take you to a small room with white walls, metal chairs, and no windows. A place designed to make time disappear. A place where people lose hope quietly. You sit under buzzing fluorescent lights while strangers decide your future. They scan you, they question you, they search you. Again, and again, and again. An officer studies your passport. He looks at you, then back at the screen. His fingers move slowly across the keyboard. He types, stops, waits. Your heart crashes into your ribs. Every breath feels loud. Every second feels suspicious. Finally, he looks up. Welcome home. Just like that, it's over. You walk out on unsteady legs, blending back into the crowd. No one knows how close you were to losing everything. In the bathroom, you lock yourself in a stall and cry. Silently. No sobs, no sound. Just tears and shaking hands. You almost quit that day. Almost. By 32, you're empty. Not tired, not sad, empty. Like something essential has been scraped out and never replaced. There's no trust left in you, no peace, no real rest. Just constant alertness and quiet exhaustion. Somewhere along the way, you tried to live like a normal person. It happened on a flight to Paris. She was a flight attendant. Calm voice, tired smile, kind eyes that noticed things most people ignored. She asked if you were okay when she saw your hands shaking during turbulence. You lied, of course. You said you hated flying. She laughed and says she did too, sometimes. You started talking after that. In airports, in message threads between time zones, in hotel rooms that finally felt less empty. For a while, she became your routine in a life that had none. With her, you weren't a courier. You weren't a fake name. You weren't a man running. You were just you. You met whenever schedules allowed. Tokyo, Rome, Toronto, Dubai. Wherever your paths crossed. Coffee at dawn, walks between terminals, kisses before boarding calls. But love needs stability. And you had none. You canceled dates, missed anniversaries, disappeared without explanations. You said work so many times it stopped meaning anything. She stopped asking questions. Then she stopped waiting. The last time you saw her was in a quiet airport cafe. She held your hand and told you she was tired of loving someone who was never really there. You didn't argue. You didn't promise. You knew you couldn't change, so you let her go. Sometimes, years later, you still think about her. When a flight attendant walks by with her perfume, when Paris shows up on a departure board, when turbulence shakes the plane and your hands start to shake too. You wonder who you could have been if you had chosen her. Relationships collapse one by one. You cancel too often, you disappear for weeks, you lie too easily. Eventually, people stop believing you. Friends fade out. Family stops asking where you are or when you're coming home. Instead, you send money. You wire it. You transfer it. You leave it in envelopes. You replace love with transactions. You buy expensive gifts instead of giving your time. You become a stranger who pays well and never stays long. Sleep becomes rare. When it comes, it's shallow and fragile. Every noise wakes you. Every shadow feels suspicious. Paranoia stops feeling like fear and starts feeling like common sense. You check exits everywhere. Restaurants, hotels, airports, parking garages. 2 doors, 1 backup plan. Always. Somewhere along the way, you start losing track of yourself. It begins with small things, harmless things. You hesitate when filling out forms, your pen hovering over the signature line longer than it should. Your handwriting changes depending on the name you're using that week. Sometimes you have to check your own passport just to remember who you're supposed to be. Once at a hotel front desk, they call out the wrong name, and you almost answer. It scares you more than any border checkpoint ever has. You forget your real birthday for a moment. You mix up addresses that were once your home. Childhood memories feel borrowed, like stories someone else told you and you learned by heart. In mirrors, you don't recognize the man staring back. Different haircuts, different clothes, different expressions. Same empty eyes. You practice accents in private. You rehearse lies even when no one's listening. You introduce yourself so many ways that none of them feel real anymore. Sometimes when you wake up in a hotel room, you don't know which country you're in. Sometimes you don't know which life you're living. Your phone is filled with contacts under fake names. Your wallet holds documents that contradict each other. Your past is scattered across continents, sealed inside borders you can't revisit. One night, half asleep, you whisper your real name. It sounds strange, foreign, like a language you used to speak as a child and forgot. That's when you understand the truth. You didn't just fake identities to survive. You erased your own. Then you decide to do the last job. There's always a last job. This one is supposed to be different, bigger, cleaner, final. Houston to Panama, Panama to Antwerp, Antwerp back to New York. A perfect loop. No loose ends, no detours, no improvisation. It's the largest shipment you've ever handled. 24 stones. A retirement package, a down payment on freedom, a chance to disappear for real. They're hidden inside medical braces, custom-made, precision-engineered, built to survive scanners, searches, and suspicion. You wear them like armor, like proof that this time you're smarter than the system. At Houston Immigration, the system stalls. The officer frowns. A supervisor is called. Time stretches into something painful and unreal. Conversations blur. Screens refresh. Your mouth grows dry. Your hands stay still only through practice. Then, approved. A stamp, a nod, a wave forward. You walk. You don't run. You never run. Outside, the Texas heat slams into you like a wall. Sunlight, noise, traffic. Life continuing as if nothing almost ended. You take a breath. You're alive. Again. You never really escape this life. You only delay it. Until the next bill arrives. Until the next threat appears. Until the next mistake reminds you who you belong to. You don't cross borders. You survive them. And every time you do, something disappears. A memory. A dream. A version of yourself that once believed in a future. It gets lost somewhere between countries, between departure gates and customs lines, between fake names and borrowed lives. Somewhere no passport can save you. Somewhere America can't protect you from. And one day you realize the truth. You didn't outrun your past. You carried it with you. Everywhere. And if this story stayed with you, if it made you pause for a moment, subscribe. and I'll see you in the next one.